William Brownell, and I am from Mobile, Alabama, and my presentation is on the evolution of the Western genre. The evolution of the Western started in the silent film era and made icons out of Tom Mix, Hoot Gibson, and William S. Hart. They were very popular and they made lots and lots of movies which all had the same basic plot: good versus evil. The guy in the white hat versus the guy with the mustache and the black hat. But when sound came into play, Mix and others like him became obsolete. But the 1930s continued on with new stars, as I like to call them, the singing cowboys. Gene Autry, Roy Rogers, these were just a couple of names. And a lot of these movies were very, very forgettable. And as the world rebounded from World War II, the new icons were stars like Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper, and my favorite, the Duke, John Wayne. The genre improved who these stars teamed up with, directors like John Ford and Howard Hawks. The settings of the expansive sky and plains defined these movies. The plots were phenomenal, and no longer could you tell the good guys by their white hats and the villains by their mustaches and black hats. In the 1960s, the Western genre seemed boxed in. Television was going big time with Westerns like Bonanza and the Wild, Wild West. The studio system was dying and the Hays Code was gone. The industry was changing from technological advances, young filmmakers, and generational shifts in attitude. Some people believe if not for the directors like Sergio Leone and Sam Peckinpah, Westerns would have ceased to exist. These Westerns were no longer the feel-good, rousing epics of decades past, but with stars like Clint Eastwood. The plot involved the anti-hero and a gritty, sand-swept look. Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch is probably best known for its violence, but stepped up the genre with what I believe a very complicated plot and great story. The 70s seemed to have little use for the Western genre. If not for John Wayne in movies like True Grit and The Shootist, Clint Eastwood and the outlaw Josie Wells, they may have been gone altogether. They were definitely propped up by guys of this talent. The last hurrah to me for the Westerns was probably the 80s and 90s with Tom Horn. Of course, that was the last movie made by Steve McQueen. Silverado, one of my favorite Westerns, and The Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood. The Western genre survived, but was not like its glory days of the Duke and what I still love to watch. It's 2015, and I have to stop and think of really good Westerns made in the 2000s. And it's hard, but thanks to Costner and Robert Duvall, they've tried. But give me John Wayne any day.